A running theme for Microsoft is to continue to improve. You have to continue to improve. You have to keep going forward. That's the way people kind of feel comfortable with your products, and that's the way people will continue to use your products. Now, when it comes to Xbox, they've been a little bit hit or miss throughout the years. Obviously, with the first Xbox, it was something that a lot of hardcore gamers, myself included, really jumped on because it was stuff that we hadn't really seen before. Honestly, like, I didn't know much about like PC gaming or anything like that. I wasn't a big tech head, but I still remember seeing big differences in not only like some of the games that Xbox could do that PlayStation 2 couldn't do, but also things that were the same on both consoles but looked drastically better. I mean, you guys think things look different, things look better on one now based on a few pixels. Imagine something like NFL 2K4 or 2K5 on the Xbox, where that thing had bump mapping and creases in the uniforms, and you would get gradually dirty throughout the game if it was like a game in the rain or whatever on the Xbox version, but that wouldn't happen on the PlayStation version. Also, you would see full game highlights thanks to the hard drive on the Xbox version, like at halftime and stuff like that, whereas opposed they were just still pictures on the PS2 versions. Huge differences like that, right? And so I was like, wow, man, just the power of Xbox, it's great. So that kind of gets you on there, and you think, oh, okay, that's great. The Xbox 360, boom, they doubled down on what made Xbox great. And then, you know, with the Xbox One, I thought they started off the game-wise really well, but at the end of the day, they didn't do what was needed to win the people over in terms of keeping them happy and satisfied and things like that. So, you know, obviously there's going to be some changes there, but now we start to see an overarching kind of story of success from Microsoft where they're starting to pick up and starting to take off. And I think that that's a lovely thing, and just to see gamers embrace that is really good. Now, there was this article that came out that I thought was very interesting. Said Xbox 2021, Microsoft's ambitious gamble has finally paid off for Xbox Series X and S. It's taken some years, but Xbox is back on track. Now, this is something that I've been echoing for a while now, that Xbox is back on track, and it would take a while. People didn't believe me, and people kept saying that I was like a fearmonger and things like that because I expressed concerns. And now it's just one of those things where it's quite obvious that I was right. But I do want to get into this, so if you guys do enjoy the topics and stuff like this, pay attention to it. Hey there everyone, I'm the Crap Gamer, and of course this is Crap Gamer Reviews, your home for gaming news, opinions, reviews, and much more. You'll probably notice a few cool changes around here, and hopefully that doesn't stop you from giving us a like and possibly even consider subscribing if you haven't already done so. Thank you so much for choosing to spend some of your free time with me today. It really does mean a lot. So in this article, it's very interesting. So it goes on to say the following. 2021 has been an outstanding year for Xbox. It's been a long time coming, but the investments Microsoft made way back in 2016 have finally come to fruition this year, and Xbox gamers are reaping the benefits. We've seen the power of Xbox Game Pass in full force in 2021 with critical acclaim first-party games such as Microsoft Flight Simulator, Psychonauts 2, Forza Horizon 5, and Halo Infinite all arriving on day one on Microsoft's subscription service. Xbox Game Pass has also secured numerous indie darlings such as Unpacking and Hades over the course of the year, as well as notable third-party Day 1 releases like Back 4 Blood, Outriders, and MLB The Show 21, all of which help hammer home that Xbox Game Pass is a must-have add-on for any Xbox owners. Now, in playing the long game, Microsoft's success may seem like it's primarily down to Xbox Game Pass and simply having a lineup of great titles this year. Then, of course, that's been a huge factor, but it's actually been much more than that. What's really helped elevate Xbox to the next level is the calculated gambles and investments that took place during the early tumultuous years of the Xbox One generation, many of which raised eyebrows in the gaming community at the time. In 2016, Microsoft began announcing Xbox Play Anywhere, a cross-buy program that let users buy a game once and play them on Xbox and Windows 10 PCs. That was the start of Microsoft's push to make Xbox and PC gaming more homogeneous, something which has now become a reality. However, the main catalyst for Microsoft's success came in 2017. Xbox Game Pass was revealed, a subscription service that let users handle hundreds of games for a monthly fee, and the service has grown substantially since its release. The biggest challenge that undoubtedly propelled Microsoft Xbox Game Pass to new heights came in March 2018, when Microsoft announced that all first-party titles would hit the service on day one. This began with Sea of Thieves and Rare's games soon to be joined by such as games as State of Decay 2, Gears 5, Halo, the Master Chief Collection, Doom Eternal, Ori, and The Will of the Wisps, to name a few. For many, getting access to Microsoft's first-party lineup alone is enough to keep the subscription running. So, this article does bring up a couple things that are a little bit, I don't want to say that I disagree, but obviously Microsoft feels like they're important parts. The first thing that they bring up is Xbox and PC. Now, here's the thing: you can get, we have no numbers on Windows numbers, right? Like when a game is being played on Windows, we have no idea what's being played there. But we've seen that Microsoft has had some success with Steam, which means that on the back end, people would rather play Xbox games on their preferred platform over the Windows Store or whatever, for whatever reasons. But they do have some success on Steam and things like that. But they've also had their failures. Just putting everything on everything doesn't necessarily mean success. And I think that's something that people should kind of keep in mind, right? Like Gears of War, for instance. I just don't feel like that game translates very well to PC. And I feel like what they did, they kind of took away some of the speciality of that game, which was a system seller. And when you take that away, I think that it really kind of hurts the franchise. I think obviously they made some other missteps with it, but they also mentioned some of the cloud stuff, which again is objective kind of. According to this article, which I don't agree with this, but it says by allowing gamers to play Xbox games on console, PC, or cloud, Forza Horizon 5 was able to achieve an astonishing player numbers of over 10 million players in 1 week, which simply wouldn't have been possible if the game was an Xbox Series X and X exclusive. I actually don't think that very many, probably even to equate a percentage, played this game via the cloud. I would say that people played it through their Xboxes. It was a cross-gen game, so you have 40-some million Xbox Ones, 8, 9, 10 million Xbox Series X and S's, and then all the PCs. That's where the majority of people are playing this stuff at. So we do see that as something that people want to talk about. So what else did 2021 bring for fans? Well, Microsoft's strategy is clear for all to see, but that didn't stop the company from also adding a ton of new features to the Xbox Series X and S in 2021. We saw the dashboard go from 1080p to 4K. Dolby Vision gaming support was added. Cloud gaming to consoles. Microsoft also revealed FPS Boost in 2021, which bumped the frame rate of older titles to 60 frames per second or 120 frames per second, and added over 70 new titles to its backwards compatibility program in November. They also, a number of Xbox One titles get free Xbox Series X and S optimizations, including Destiny 2, Doom Eternal, and Hellblade. Xbox is on a strong position going into next year, then with even more momentum behind it than the brand. If Microsoft can keep delivering games, they'll continue to do good things, and people will continue to forget about the Xbox One, which I think is a good thing, right? Like if you hated the Xbox One, I feel like that's something that happened so long ago. Like it'd be like bringing up the whole $5.99 PS3 thing at this point. I mean, we're kind of over that point. They changed everything that they could. They've been doing everything they could to kind of get away from that, and I also think that it's very smart that they're able to kind of accomplish that, and for me personally, I feel like people should kind of forgive, and I don't say forget because you always have to remember what's happening, but they are making strides to kind of make up for things, and obviously going into next year it'll be a good year. Like, I'm more of a realist when it comes to this. It's easy to go, oh, Flight Simulator, Psychonauts 2, but when I look at that and I go, well, Psychonauts 2 was a multi-platform title. Flight Simulator was a game that really nobody was interested in. I'm sure it looked pretty, but it's literally a simulator, and I think people really hyped that, and when they actually went to go check it out, they realized that it's literally a simulator, and that can be kind of boring. I'm not saying that if you're into that kind of stuff that you wouldn't like it. Like I think the game was Everspace at one point. It's like a space simulator, but it's literally flipping the switches like you would on a spacecraft, like how you have to really fly and all that kind of stuff. And I played it for like 15 minutes and I was like, this is awful. And it wasn't awful because it was an awful game. It was awful because it was basically boring for me because I have no interest in that. So there's a little bit of a difference there. Going into next year, I think Microsoft is going to be really tested. It really comes down to what they're going to be able to maybe surprise people with, because I do feel like Sony has the edge in their first party lineup next year in terms of, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, Forspoken, Gran Turismo 7. Even the remastered Uncharted games, I think, is a strong thing for them to bring that game and that franchise back. It's been 5-6 years, so it's a really good timing on their part. So next year is going to be very crucial and important for both these companies. But Microsoft is on the right path, and seeing them be looked at in such a good way, I think, is incredibly smart. And it really does make things kind of look a lot better than what they used to. So very cool stuff. Let me know what you guys think. Sound off, rate, comment, subscribe, rack them up, crap them up, and Crap Gamer them up. Crap Gamer out.